Woohoo! Okay, we are live. Guess it's time to talk about reading assignment week 2. You will find it in the same place you found your last reading assignment, which is in your reading folder. Well, it's a literacy assignment, but yeah, it'll be in your reading folder. Cool? So that is where it will be. So let's have a look at it and we'll get into it. Literacy assignment. Here we go. What you should have done before starting week 2's work. You can all see what I'm saying. Cool. Awesome, you can see what I'm saying. You should have a full intro and 3 reasons why you believe your point of view. Those 3 reasons should be listed in your full intro. So here I'm going to read out mine. This is my full intro. This was last week's task for you guys. And here it is. It's 42% of teens care more about their Instagram feed than their school report. Is this shocking to you? Well, it's not to me. There should not be a capital there, but... Well, it's not to me. Not only do I believe under 14 should be banned from using social media, I believe social media for adults should only function 5 days a week. That way, that gives us time to enhance our real life connections. I despise social media because it takes away from family time, which is the Y one, is causing a worldwide obesity epidemic and has a negative effect on our ability to communicate in real life. So they are my 3 whys. Now I know you want to hear more, so let's kick into it. That's just a little thing at the end. So things to remember about your intro paragraph is it should only be that long, 5-6 sentences. If you're writing too much, if you're explaining your thought process too much, you're taking away from what you're going to be doing next. Okay? So that's the sort of length that you should be looking at for your introduction. I saw some people had huge ones, some people had tiny introductions. It needs to have those 3 things. A hook, clearly stating your point of view, and then stating your whys, your 3 whys. 2 or 3, I actually think you are 2. Okay, so, task 1, really simple. You're writing your first paragraph. Write your first 2 why paragraphs. So, you have to write 2 of them. Before we go any further, my first why is social media takes away from family time. So the first thing I'd need to do is say that in my paragraph. But let's have a look. This helpful article here, if you click on that, it links you to a website. Now I've got that website already open because I thought it would speed things up. And we are talking about TEE paragraphs. This is a way of just checking in. This is a way of helping structure your paragraphs so that you build a convincing argument. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read through this with you. I've linked it on the document as well. You saw the link, I showed you it. But I'm going to talk you through it. And again, just have a go. It's not the end of the world. You're remote learning at the moment. Anything you do is better than doing nothing. Think about it that way. Okay, so I'm going to read it and then talk about how we can apply it to our subject and such. Okay, TEE structure is just one organizational structure you might deploy. Its name refers to the topic sentence. That's what the T is. So your topic sentence will always be your why. So your why for that paragraph, example, and explanation. These kinds of paragraphs are mostly found in professional and academic settings because they are good for offering specific detailed arguments. That's why we're looking at them, because they're good for offering specific detailed arguments. Like all paragraphs, they start with a topic sentence. But hit your why again. Say what your why is, which introduces the reader to the main point of that paragraph. then they have supporting sentences and concluding sentences. What makes TEE paragraphs unique? You'll recall that any paragraph you'll recall that in any paragraph the supporting sentences are sentences that are neither topic nor conclusion, but that offer additional facts to support the main point. It's basically saying it's not going off topic, it's staying on the topic and supporting your main fact. These often provide supporting details or small parts of a whole, tangible facts that help the readers to better understand what you're trying to get across. Okay, we can read all that terminology. It's quite tricky, but this is the part that I wanted to get to you. They actually do an example here, which is quite cool, and then I'll go on and do my own example again. Okay, so below is an underlined topic sentence with 3 different types of supporting sentences below it. Okay, so this is the topic sentence right here. Taking long, so they're obviously not arguing what we're arguing. It's good to use examples from different stuff, but it's just, this is it. Taking long airplane flights can be physically challenging, so it's important to create comfort however you can. And so that's their main point in this paragraph. The first thing they do is a limited supporting sentence. It's important to sometimes create a real world vibe around it. That's what that's saying, is it's a limit. Because, for example, we'll just use their example. So it makes it smaller and more real world. Here's an example of their example for this topic of a limited one. It may not be possible to ride first class or bring or bring aboard a gourmet meal, but you can provide small areas of comfort for yourself. So it's just making it more realistic, because their main topic says taking long airplane flights can be physically challenging, so it's important to create comfort for yourself. Well, the easiest way to create comfort would obviously be to fly first class and have a chef come with you, or have your own plane, but that's not possible all the time. So that first sentence that they're using, and you might not choose to use one like that, but it's just limiting it and bringing it into the real world just a little bit. Then they talk about a defining supporting sentence. See how it clarifies the terms that you're presenting. In the case, we want to consider comfort, so they're actually to be anything that eases the physical stress and personal boredom of sitting on long flights, long hours on planes. So they're defining, actually. So their first statement, the main topic, taking long airplane flights can be physically challenging, so it's important to create comfort however you can. They're defining comfort. What does comfort mean? So that's another example, and another part of the TEE. The next one is example of supporting sentence examples. They'll be statements that give examples that support your topic sentence's claim. So, for example, you might wear comfortable clothing in layers so you can take off and easily maintain temperature most comfortable for yourself. That's an example of what someone can do. And then the last one is an explanation. In this way, you will be able to create physical comfort even if your cabin temperature is warmer or cooler than you would prefer. See, so that's if you strung all of these three things underneath your initial one, that's TEE, sort of paragraphing. And it really finishes off the paragraph nice and tight. So put some limitations on it. Define exactly what you want, what you're meaning. Give an example and an explanation on why your example is good. Sounds a lot easier. I don't think I explained that particularly well, but you can read over that, and you can read over an example that I'm going to do here. So here we go. What have we got? I'm going to read my introduction again. Remember, my point of view in this example is, if we're looking at literacy task step week 1, is you had to choose whether you were for or against children under 14 should not be allowed to use social media. And I chose for that statement. I agree with that statement. Theoretically, I'm not really actually telling you whether I agree or not. Personally, I'm just doing this argument for an example. So my first why, the first reason why, and my first paragraph is going to be about social media takes away from family time. So I'm actually just going to state that at the start, because my first thing I need to do is have a topic sentence for that paragraph. So I'm literally just going to state that social media takes away from valuable family time, which can be used to family time, which can be used to I can't spell, strengthen, which can be used to strengthen. So social media takes away from valuable family time. I'm actually going to change this which can be used because it's not very assertive. Which is an essential part of modern society, can't spell, and part of what makes us human. Us. And a huge contributor to what makes us human. I'm going to change that. And contributes greatly to what makes us human. Again, note wrong too. So that's my first.
Social media takes away from value family, which is an essential part of modern society and contributes greatly to what makes us human.
So that's an example of me not actually reading what I've written, but reading what I thought I'd written. So that's my topic sentence. I've just thrown it out there. Then I need to sort of engage with those other options on the example here. So I might go back and have a look at it and I go, is there a place for a limiting sentence? Now, a limiting sentence might be useful in this situation because I might want to say, I'm not saying everybody needs to get off. A limiting sentence might be useful because otherwise I'm going to get people too enraged to read any further. So I could say something along the lines of, I'm not saying everybody needs to stop using social media. See, because then I'm limiting it. And just bringing it in a little tighter. And I'm not saying that everybody needs to stop using social media, But huge considerations need to be made to reduce the impact on growing minds. There you go. But huge reductions in social media. Oh, spelled that wrong. Social media. I'm missing an A. For teens needs to be action to reduce the impact on our family unit. So there, I've just put my little limit on it. So there's my little limiting statement. So first I say, social media takes away from valuable family time. I'm stating my topic sentence, which is an essential part of modern society and contributes greatly to what makes us human. That's my topic sentence. I'm not saying everybody needs to stop using social media, but huge reductions in social media for teens needs to be actioned to reduce the impact on the family unit. So that's my limiting statement. Then I could give an example. An example could be, let's just check. So I could use a defining one, but I don't think I need to. I could use an example. I'm just going to skip through that one because, defining what the family unit is. I could go into that, but I don't want to make this video 4 hours long. And it would be worth doing if you're trying to write the perfect essay. But instead of defining the family unit, which I could do there, and I'm going to give an example. Have you ever tried to ask your older sibling for help with schoolwork and all is sit on your phone looking at Instagram? So I've given an example. Have you ever tried to ask your older sibling for help with with schoolwork, and all they did was sit on their phone looking at Instagram? So that's an example, and now I'm going to use the explanation why that impacts. This impacts the family unit in many ways. Not only does it cause greater stress for your parents, because they need to help, Your bond with your siblings are weakened because you believe because it makes you feel unimportant. Cool. So that's my unimportant. Oopsie, I think I did something wrong. So what I've got there is an example right there, Have you ever tried to ask your older sibling for help with schoolwork and all they did was sit on their phone looking at Instagram? And then this isn't very well written, this is just written on the spot. This impacts the family unit in many ways, and not only does it cause greater stress for your parents, because they need to help. Your bonds with your siblings, your bond with your sibling is weakened because it makes you feel unimportant to them. So that's my example there of how I sort of separate it. So the first part to there, that's your topic sentence that I did. So I'm going to highlight the topic sentence green. Then this is the limiting sentence. I'm going to highlight that blue. And then this part here is the example. That's going to go yellow. And then this part here is the explanation, which is going to go orange. Cool. So that's how it works, guys. That's how you can see those different, that's the different parts of the paragraph. Again, I'm not saying that this is a perfect piece of writing. It's by no means a perfect piece of writing, but it gets you some idea of what you should have. So I'm going to read it through. Before I go, I'm going to read through my paragraphs, both of them, my introduction and my first why paragraph, and we'll see whether it actually sounds any good. Okay. 42% of teens care more about their Instagram feed than their school report. Is that shocking to you? Well, it's not to me. Not only do I believe that children under 14 should be banned from social media, I believe social media for adults should only be functional 5 days a week. That way it gives us time to enhance our real life connections. I despise social media because it takes away from family time, is causing a worldwide obesity epidemic, and has a negative effect on our ability to communicate in real life. Now, I know you want to hear more, so I'll kick into it. So let's kick into it. Social media takes away from valued family time, which is an essential part of modern society and contributes greatly to what makes us human. I'm not saying that everybody needs to stop using social media, but huge reductions in social media for teens needs to be actioned to reduce the impact on the family unit. Have you ever tried to ask your older sibling for help with schoolwork and all they did was sit on their phone looking at Instagram? This impacts the family unit in many ways. Not only does it cause greater stress for your parents because they need to help, they need to help you. Your bond with your sibling is weakened because it makes you feel unimportant to them. There we go. So that's an example of what I've got so far. And again, those different parts. Topic sentence, I limited it, just making sure that everybody sort of knew what I was sort of confining it to. I gave an example and then explained my examples. TEE. Hope that's helpful. See you later. Oh, actually, no, don't see you later. The next thing's really easy. Okay, so task 1 is huge. You gotta write 2 paragraphs using a new format. I want you to try your best. That's what I'm valuing the highest at the moment. Task 2, study letter. you've got 4 different articles. I want you to read all 4 of them and try to get 80% on the questions. These are the 4. I've assigned them to you. Horrible Little Monsters, The Ant and the Grasshopper, Time Traveler, and Wheelchair Sports. It says a set right here, so that's good. Cool. And the last one, I want you to write a summary on those. One of them. Remember to answer the questions. Who is it about? What is it about? Go through the who, what, where, and why. And then write it into a paragraph summary. I feel like that one's, these 2 are keeping you sharp with your reading. This is what our new learning is, guys. And this is the one I really want you to focus on. The task 1. Okay? Hope you had a good time. Hope I didn't bore you to sleep. That's it.